Take a look at this active archaeological site near the Giza Plateau. This is a mastaba, a flat-roofed, rectangular structure used as a tomb for non-royals. Inside, archaeologists uncovered exactly what you would expect from a standard excavation. The walls are lined with traditional historical reliefs documenting the life of a high-ranking official from thousands of years ago. But tucked away in an easily ignored corner of the chamber is this specific carving. It depicts the Eye of Horus, a common Egyptian motif, but drawn in a style entirely unique to this site. When researchers examined the pupil of the eye closely, they found a perfectly symmetrical, multi-tooth mechanical gear carved directly into the stone. The ancient Egyptians had no knowledge of this kind of precision mechanics. Etched around that gear in microscopic detail is a sequence of ones and zeros. When translated from binary code, those markings spell three simple English words: I am here. The excavation team documented the entire dig meticulously, proving this chamber had remained completely sealed under tons of rock and sand for millennia. A modern hoax of this scale is physically impossible. The presence of binary code inside a sealed ancient tomb links a modern digital language to a culture that predated it by millennia. Connecting these dots requires looking at the work of a physicist who vanished decades before the tomb was even opened. Kirk Lazarus spent his early adulthood collecting degrees in engineering and theoretical physics. His professors recognized his brilliance, but eventually pushed him out of mainstream academia because of his deeply eccentric theories. Lazarus argued that time does not move in a strict, unchangeable straight line. He believed it behaves like a river, complete with currents and eddies that a person could navigate if they had the right tools. He poured every dollar he had into building a machine to test this hypothesis. He called it the Kronos Device. This diagram illustrates his core concept. By feeding massive amounts of energy through a complex array of electromagnets and exotic matter, Lazarus believed he could pinch off and distort a specific section of space-time into an isolated, localized bubble. The project consumed him. Neighbors constantly reported power surges, strange flashing lights, and loud vibrations coming from his home, which he had converted into a highly secretive, densely packed laboratory. Then, one night, the power surges peaked, the noises stopped entirely, and the laboratory went dead quiet. When police arrived, they found blueprints everywhere, the Kronos device completely drained of power, and Lazarus missing. The authorities closed the investigation by declaring him legally dead, assuming the stress caused a total mental breakdown. But his mathematical notes suggested his temporal bubble had actually activated. Sitting in the center of his abandoned lab was his final journal entry. He wrote that the energy was stable, his destination was ancient Egypt, and he would leave a sign: look for the eye among the stones. The online community treated his final entry as a literal instruction manual, mapping his words against modern archaeological sites to find where that eye might be hidden. This map shows their search method. By layering ground-penetrating radar over satellite imagery of the Giza Plateau, they scanned for structural anomalies. Cross-referencing these radar hits with historical logs of archaeological digs narrowed thousands of acres down to a single point. That precise radar hit led an amateur archaeologist directly to the lesser-known mastaba, the exact location where the mechanical Eye of Horus was carved into the wall. Finding the gear inside the pupil was no accident. The digital researchers successfully located an impossible artifact by reverse engineering the predicted data points of a missing physicist. Following the success, the community started scanning other Egyptian historical sites and found more inconsistencies. They discovered strange chemical residues baked into ancient pottery shards that perfectly matched the materials listed in Lazarus's lab notes. The most difficult evidence to dismiss is a faint radioisotope signature detected inside a section of a temple wall. The radiation profile aligns exactly with the output of the energy source he designed for the Kronos device. Mainstream scientific institutions reject these findings. Without a human body to examine, or the Kronos machine to test, they refuse to entertain the idea of time travel. But the researchers looking at the data see a clear pattern. A mechanical gear, a line of binary code, and a matching energy signature add up to an intentional, intelligent message sent by someone operating thousands of years out of place. The mounting physical evidence suggests the Lazarus case is less a mystery of a missing man and more a record of his arrival in the Bronze Age. If the gear and the code are real, the past remains open for him to navigate.